The phone feels like a block of ice pressed against my ear. My own breathing is loud in the sudden silence of the house, a ragged counterpoint to the sterile, looping hold music trickling from the receiver. I'm staring at a water stain on the ceiling, a faint, brownish map of some long-forgotten storm. I've been staring at it for 7 minutes and 42 seconds. I know because the microwave clock is flashing the time in angry red digits, and I've been counting. Each second is a lifetime. Each second, she's sitting in that clinic, oblivious. The hold music cuts off abruptly. A new voice, crisp and professional, comes on the line.
Mom?
Are you still there? This is Susan from Member Services. I swallow, my throat dry as dust.
Yes.
I'm here. Okay, she says, a hint of caution in her tone. I've reviewed the file. You are the primary policyholder for this account. Is that correct? For the small business plan under Apex Innovations. That's correct, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. My husband, Mark, and I are the co-owners. The policy is in my name. And you're stating that the dependent, a Ms. Jane Doe, was added fraudulently? I close my eyes. Saying the name out loud feels like swallowing glass. She is not my spouse. She is not my child. She is not my domestic partner. I have never met her. She was added without my knowledge or consent. The words are memorized, a script I've been rehearsing in my head for weeks, a cold, hard mantra of truth. There's a soft clicking of a keyboard on her end. A pause. I see. This is a serious allegation, ma'am. I am aware, I say. The water stain on the ceiling blurs. I need her removed from my policy. Effective immediately. Another pause. Longer this time. I can hear the faint murmur of other calls in the background, a beehive of other people's mundane problems. A billing inquiry. A search for a network provider. My problem feels anything but mundane. It feels like a planet-killer asteroid, and I'm standing at ground zero, holding the detonator. Ma'am, Susan says, her voice dropping a little, becoming less corporate and more human. According to our records, there is a pre-authorization for a procedure for Ms. Doe, scheduled for today. In fact, it looks like she checked in for her appointment about 45 minutes ago. My heart gives a single, violent thud against my ribs. I knew it. My timing was perfect. Horribly, exquisitely perfect.
Yes.
I know. Susan is quiet. I imagine her, a woman in a cubicle hundreds of miles away, suddenly pulled into the messy, ugly vortex of my life. I wonder what she's thinking. I wonder if she can hear the tremor in my hand, the one holding the phone so tightly my knuckles are white. If I process this removal now, she says slowly, choosing her words with care, her coverage will be terminated retroactively to the date she was added. Any services rendered today, any services rendered at all, will not be covered. The provider will be notified that she has no active insurance with us. They will likely demand payment from her directly, in full. A cold, clean wave of something that feels terrifyingly like victory washes over me. It's not joy. It's not happiness. It's the grim, soul-shaking satisfaction of a final, perfectly executed move in a game I never wanted to play. I picture her, sitting in a sterile room, wearing a thin paper gown, the crisp air of the clinic on her skin. I picture the moment a nurse or an administrator walks in, clipboard in hand, face etched with professional concern. The moment the world she thought she had, the security she thought was hers, evaporates under the harsh fluorescent lights of a doctor's office. I understand, I whisper, my voice cracking just once. Please proceed. There's a final, decisive series of clicks. A sound of finality. It's done, Susan says softly. Her name has been removed. The provider's office is being notified electronically as we speak. Suddenly, in the background of the call, I hear a new sound. Not from the call center. From the doctor's office. I realize Susan must have the clinic on another line, or perhaps she's patched into their system. I hear a commotion. A raised voice, female, laced with panic. What do you mean it's not covered? There must be a mistake. Run it again. Susan says nothing to me. She just lets me listen. She lets me hear the chaos I've unleashed. The woman's voice gets higher, sharper. It's her.
Jane Doe.
I've never heard her voice before, but I know it's her. This is impossible. My boyfriend, he handles this. It's his insurance. You have to call him. A muffled, calm voice responds, too low for me to make out the words. But I can hear her desperation, the raw, naked terror of being exposed. She gasps, a sharp, ragged intake of breath that travels through the phone lines and straight into my heart. It's the sound of a carefully constructed lie shattering into a million pieces. I think about the man who did this. My husband. The man I promised to love, in sickness and in health. He didn't just break a vow. He committed fraud. He used the company we bled for, the one we built from nothing in our garage, as a slush fund for his affair. He put her health and well-being on the same level as mine, paid for with the same money, under the same roof. He thought I wouldn't find out. Or maybe he just didn't care. The chaos on the other end fades as Susan disconnects from them. The line is quiet again, just the two of us. "Ma'am," she asks gently. "Thank you, Susan," I say, and my voice is clear now. The tremor is gone. "You've been very helpful." I hang up the phone. I don't cry. I don't scream. I just stand in the unnerving silence of my kitchen, staring at the water stain on the ceiling, and for the first time in months, I feel the ground solid beneath my feet. The storm has finally broken, and I am the one holding the lightning. If you've ever felt that chilling moment of betrayal, that feeling when the floor just drops out from under you, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're new here, please subscribe. It helps me share these stories, and honestly, it helps me feel a little less alone in the quiet that comes after the storm. 6 months ago, the silence in this house was a comfort. It was the peaceful hum of a life well lived, a partnership humming along in comfortable harmony. Mark and I weren't just husband and wife, we were a team. Apex Innovations wasn't just a business, it was our baby. We'd conceived it over cheap pizza and cheaper beer on the floor of our first apartment, sketching out plans on napkins. We nurtured it through sleepless nights, pouring our life savings and every ounce of our energy into its fragile beginnings. I remember the early days, our tiny garage office, freezing in the winter and sweltering in the summer. Mark was the visionary, the charismatic salesman who could charm a client into a deal with a smile and a firm handshake. I was the architect, the one who built the systems, managed the finances, and made sure the promises he made were promises we could actually keep.
We were a perfect balance.
Yin and yang. His fire, my earth. Our home reflected that balance. It was a modest 2-story craftsman we'd bought when the business finally turned a real profit.
It was our sanctuary.
I loved the way the late afternoon sun slanted through the living room windows, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. I loved the worn spot on the hardwood floor by the armchair where Mark always sat, his long legs stretched out, reading industry magazines while I cooked dinner. The smell of garlic and onions sizzling in olive oil, the low murmur of the television, the weight of his hand on the small of my back as he passed behind me, these were the bricks and mortar of my happiness. We had dreams. A trip to Italy, once the company was stable enough. A small cabin in the mountains where we could escape the city. Children, maybe. We'd talk about it late at night, our voices soft in the darkness, our plans feeling less like dreams and more like certainties. Our life wasn't perfect, no life is. There were arguments over finances, disagreements about business strategy. But we always found our way back to each other. We were Mark and Chloe, a single entity, an unbreakable unit.
Or so I believed.
The first crack was almost invisible. A hairline fracture I didn't even notice at first. Mark started working later. It wasn't unusual in our line of work, but the frequency increased. He'd come home long after I was in bed, smelling of stale office air and a faint, unplaceable perfume that wasn't mine. When I'd ask, he'd sigh, running a hand through his already messy hair. "Just putting out fires, Chloe. You know how it is. Big client is getting antsy." I accepted it. I was his partner. I knew the pressures. I'd leave a plate of food for him in the microwave and a note on the counter. Love you. Don't work too hard. He stopped leaving notes back. Then came the phone calls. He started taking his phone with him everywhere, even to the bathroom. It was always angled away from me, the screen dark. He'd get texts at all hours, and the phone would vibrate against the nightstand, a tiny, insistent earthquake in our shared space. When I asked who it was, the answer was always the same. Work.
Just the team in the Philippines.
You know the time difference. I did know. But I also knew our team in the Philippines communicated through a shared Slack channel, not late-night personal texts. A small seed of unease was planted in my gut. I tried to ignore it. Trust was the foundation of our entire life. To doubt him felt like a betrayal in itself. I told myself I was being paranoid, tired, stressed from my own workload. A wife's insecurity. I pushed it down, burying it under layers of denial and the daily grind of running a business. We stopped talking about Italy. We stopped talking about the cabin. Our late-night conversations dwindled into tired grunts and the rustle of sheets as we turned our backs to each other. The silence in the house was no longer comfortable. It was heavy, suffocating. It was the sound of unspoken words, of a growing distance that felt as wide and cold as an ocean. I felt a profound loneliness, the kind that only exists when you're lying next to someone you're supposed to share everything with. I'd watch him sleep, this man whose face was as familiar to me as my own, and I'd feel like I was looking at a stranger. A handsome, sleeping stranger who held all the secrets of our crumbling world behind his closed eyelids. And I let it happen. I told myself it was a phase, a rough patch. All couples go through them. The business was stressful. We were both exhausted. It would pass. We would find our way back. I clung to that hope like a life raft, even as I felt the cold water of reality lapping at my feet. I didn't want to see the truth because seeing it would mean our life, the one I had so carefully and lovingly built, was a lie. And that was a truth I wasn't ready to face. The water stain on the ceiling seemed to grow bigger every day, a constant reminder of the slow, steady leak that was eroding the foundation of my world. I just kept hoping the rain would stop. The letter arrives on a Tuesday. Tuesdays are my administrative days, a deluge of invoices, payroll, and the endless, soul-crushing paperwork that comes with running a small business. The mail is usually just a pile of bills and junk, but this one is different. It's a thick, cream-colored envelope from our health insurance provider. I almost toss it, assuming it's just another generic update about policy changes. But something makes me pause. The weight of it. I slice it open with my thumb, pulling out a sheaf of papers. It's an explanation of benefits, a statement detailing recent medical claims. I scan the first page, my own name at the top, a routine dental cleaning from last month. Nothing unusual. I'm about to file it away when I flip to the second page. A different name is listed under the patient column.
Jane Doe.
The name is so generic it's almost comical, like a placeholder in a form. But this is no form. This is a real EOB, for real services. My breath catches in my throat. We don't have any employees named Jane. We have no dependents by that name. Mark and I are the only ones on the policy, a premium PPO plan that costs us a small fortune every month, a luxury we justified because health is everything. My eyes scan the list of services rendered for this mysterious Jane Doe. A wellness checkup, a series of lab tests, a prescription filled for a common antibiotic, and then one more, a specialist consultation with an OB/GYN. My blood runs cold. An obstetrician, a gynecologist. My first thought is that it's a mistake, a clerical error. The insurance company must have mixed up our account with someone else's. It happens. I feel a wave of relief at this logical explanation. Of course. That's all it is. But the policy number at the top of the page is ours. The group number for Apex Innovations is correct. Our business address is printed right below it. This isn't a mistake. This woman, this Jane Doe, is on our policy. She is listed as a dependent. I sink into my office chair, the papers trembling in my hand. My mind races, trying to connect dots that I don't want to connect. The late nights. The secretive phone calls. The faint scent of perfume. It's a constellation of suspicion I've been actively ignoring, and this letter is the telescope bringing it all into horrifying, sharp focus. That evening, when Mark comes home, I'm waiting for him in the living room. I've rehearsed what I'm going to say 100 times, my voice calm and rational in my head. But when he walks through the door, smiling his easy, charming smile, all my preparation evaporates. "Hey, Chloe. Long day," he says, dropping his briefcase by the door and loosening his tie. He moves to kiss me, but I take a step back. His smile falters. "What's wrong?" I hold up the EOB. My hand is shaking again. "Can you explain this?" He takes the papers from me, his brow furrowed in confusion. He scans the page, his eyes lingering on the name. For a split second, a flicker of something unreadable crosses his face. Panic? Guilt. But it's gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by a mask of casual dismissal. He lets out a short, incredulous laugh.
Disowned.
"Seriously? Who the hell is that?" He tosses the papers onto the coffee table. "Babe, it's obviously a clerical error. You know how incompetent those insurance companies are. I'll call them in the morning and get it sorted out." His nonchalance is so complete, so utterly convincing, that for a moment I believe him. My own paranoia feels foolish, my suspicion a wild overreaction. He sees the doubt wavering in my eyes and presses his advantage. He steps forward, taking my hands in his. They're warm and strong, the same hands that held me when my father died, the same hands that helped me assemble shelves for our first office. "Chloe, look at me. You're stressed. We're both stressed. Don't let some stupid paperwork mistake get in your head. It's nothing." He pulls me into a hug, his chin resting on the top of my head. "It's just us, okay? Always has been." I lean against him, my body rigid with conflict. I want to believe him. God, I want to believe him more than anything. It's the easier path, the path that leads back to our comfortable, quiet life. But the seed of unease in my gut is no longer a seed. It's a thorny, tangled vine, and it's starting to choke me. I let him hold me, but I don't hug him back. In the familiar circle of his arms, I have never felt more alone. The first battle is over, and he has won. He has convinced me that the enemy is my own mind, that the monster I should fear is my own paranoia. I let him tuck me into bed that night, his breathing evening out into a deep, untroubled sleep beside me, while I lie awake in the darkness, staring at the ceiling, feeling the first tremors of a world about to fall apart. The days that follow are a special kind of hell. I live in a fog of self-doubt, a purgatory between suspicion and the desperate hope that I'm wrong. Mark is a master of his craft. He's attentive, affectionate, a perfect model of a concerned husband worried about his overwrought wife. He brings me flowers. He suggests we take a weekend away. He makes my favorite dinner. Every gesture is a perfectly placed stone, rebuilding the wall of our life, a wall he knows is crumbling from the inside. "Did you call the insurance company?" I ask one morning, my voice carefully casual as I pour my coffee. He doesn't look up from his laptop. "Yeah, I was on hold forever. They said they'd look into it. Something about a system glitch that merged a couple of accounts. They promised it would be fixed by the end of the week." It's a plausible lie. It's a perfect lie. And it works. For a little while. I try to let it go. I try to focus on work, on our quarterly reports, on anything other than the gnawing anxiety that has taken up permanent residence in my chest. But it's always there, a low hum beneath the surface of my thoughts. I start to notice things. Small things. A single, long blonde hair on the passenger seat of his car. We both have dark hair. A receipt from a restaurant I've never been to, a table for two, dated on a night he was supposedly working late at the office. I find it tucked into his coat pocket while doing laundry. When I ask him about it, he doesn't miss a beat. "Oh, that was a client dinner. With Mr. Henderson, the old guy from the tech firm. Totally forgot to submit the receipt for reimbursement." Another plausible lie. Another perfectly sealed crack. He has an answer for everything. He's so smooth, so practiced that I start to feel like I'm the one who's crazy. I'm the irrational, jealous wife, inventing conspiracies out of thin air. He paints a picture of me that I almost start to believe. Fragile, paranoid, cracking under the pressure. The loneliness deepens. I have no one to talk to. How can I tell my friends, I think my husband is cheating on me, but my only proof is a piece of mail and a stray hair? They'd think I was losing my mind. They love Mark. Everyone loves Mark. He's the charming, funny, devoted husband. I'm the quiet, serious, intense one. Who would they believe? Sleep becomes a luxury I can no longer afford. I lie awake at night, listening to the sound of his steady breathing, and my mind races. I scroll through years of photos on my phone, searching his face for a sign, a tell, some evidence of the man he's become. But all I see is the man I fell in love with, smiling back at me from 1,000 happy memories. A beach vacation. Our wedding day. The day we signed the lease on our first real office. Was it all a lie? Or is the lie the one I'm living in now? I decide to do something I've never done before. Something that feels like a violation, a point of no return. One night, after he's fallen asleep, I slip out of bed. My heart is hammering against my ribs as I pick up his phone from the nightstand. It's locked, of course, but I know his passcode. It's the date we started the company. The irony is so bitter it almost makes me laugh. My hands are shaking as I open his messages. I scroll back, weeks, then months. It's all there. A conversation with a contact named J, no last name. Just J. The messages are a brutal, devastating confirmation of everything I feared. They're filled with inside jokes, with plans, with terms of endearment that make my stomach clench. Can't wait to see you tonight. You're the only one who understands me. Last night was amazing. And then, the one that shatters me completely. I love you, 3 words he hasn't said to me, not with any real meaning in months. I keep scrolling, my vision blurring with tears. I see messages about her doctor's appointments, about her not feeling well, about him reassuring her that he'll take care of everything, that she shouldn't worry about the bills. He tells her he's put her on his fantastic company insurance. It's the least I can do, he wrote. You deserve to be taken care of. I feel a profound, physical sickness wash over me. I stumble to the bathroom and retch into the toilet, my body trying to expel the poison of his betrayal. This isn't just an affair. This isn't a simple mistake. This is a calculated, parallel life. He used our business, our shared dream, the thing we sacrificed everything for, to fund it. He took the safety and security I helped build and handed it over to her, a stranger, as a gift. I sit on the cold tile floor of the bathroom for hours, his phone clutched in my hand. The tears eventually stop. The nausea subsides. And in their place, something else begins to grow. A cold, quiet anger. The kind that doesn't scream or rage, but settles deep in your bones, hard and unyielding as steel. The image of the fragile, paranoid wife he created shatters. I am not crazy. I am not irrational. I am a woman who has been profoundly wronged. He gaslighted me. He made me question my own sanity to cover his tracks. The affection, the flowers, the concern, it was all an act. A performance to keep me docile and unsuspecting while he lived his other life. The love I felt for him curdles into something dark and unrecognizable. He is no longer my husband. He is my enemy. And he has no idea that I have just found all the ammunition I will ever need. I walk back into the bedroom and place the phone back on the nightstand, exactly as I found it. He doesn't stir. He sleeps the peaceful, untroubled sleep of a man who believes he is in complete control. He is wrong. The next morning, I am a different person. I wake up before him, my mind clear and sharp for the first time in weeks. The fog of confusion and self-doubt has burned away, leaving behind a landscape of stark, cold clarity. I know the truth, and the truth has set me free, not in a joyful, liberating way. It's the grim freedom of a soldier on a battlefield who has accepted that the only way out is through. I go through the motions of our morning routine. I make coffee. I ask him about his day. I smile when he talks about a meeting. It's the performance of a lifetime. Inside, I am a block of ice. I watch him, this stranger in my kitchen, and I feel nothing but a distant, clinical rage. He is a problem to be solved, a threat to be neutralized. My first call is to a lawyer. I find one online, a woman with a reputation for being a shark, specializing in complex divorces involving shared business assets. I meet her in a sterile, anonymous coffee shop halfway across town. I tell her everything. I lay out the story, the lies, the late nights, the EOB, the text messages I photographed from his phone. I expect judgment or pity. Instead, she just listens, her expression unreadable. When I'm finished, she takes a slow sip of her latte and looks me straight in the eye. "He didn't just cheat on you," she says, her voice calm and even. "He committed insurance fraud. That's a felony. And he used marital assets, the company, to do it. This isn't just a divorce. This is a detonation." The word hangs in the air between us. Detonation. It's the perfect word for what I feel. I'm not just leaving a marriage. I'm preparing to blow it up, and I need to make sure I'm standing outside the blast radius. She gives me a list of instructions, a battle plan. First, you need to protect yourself and the business. He's proven he's willing to use company resources for his own personal gain. We need to cut off his access. The plan is terrifyingly simple. We are 50-50 partners in the business, but all the primary financial accounts, the main operating account, the credit lines, are tied to my social security number. It was a decision we made years ago for some boring tax reason, a detail he has long since forgotten. It's a loophole. My loophole. Over the next few weeks, I become a ghost in my own life. By day, I am Chloe, the diligent business partner, the loving wife. I sit in meetings with him, discussing projections and marketing strategies, my face a perfect mask of professional calm. I nod and smile and offer my insights, all while my lawyer is drafting the paperwork that will strip him of his power. By night, I am a forensic accountant. I meticulously go through years of financial records. I create a separate, secure bank account and begin quietly siphoning a percentage of incoming payments, creating a war chest for the legal battle to come. It's our money, my money, and I am reclaiming it. I document everything. I copy credit card statements showing lavish dinners I was never invited to, hotel bills from his business trips, to cities where we have no clients. I create a file, a thick, damning portfolio of his betrayal, each piece of paper another nail in the coffin of our marriage. Living this double life is the hardest thing I've ever done. There are moments when the facade cracks. One evening, he comes home early, genuinely happy about landing a big account he'd been chasing for months. He opens a bottle of champagne, the good stuff we save for special occasions. He pours 2 glasses, his eyes shining with the old fire I used to love. "We did it, Chloe," he says, handing me a glass.
To us.
To Apex. I raise my glass, the crystal cool against my fingers. I look into the eyes of the man I once promised to spend my life with, and I see the ghost of the man I married. For a heartbreaking second, I want to drop the charade. I want to scream at him, to cry, to demand to know why he would throw all of this away. But I don't. I clink my glass against his. To Apex, I say, my voice even. I take a sip of the champagne. It tastes like ash in my mouth. The grief is a physical thing, a heavy weight in my chest. But my anger is heavier. My resolve is stronger. He is celebrating a victory for a partnership that he, himself, has already destroyed.
He just doesn't know it yet.
The stress is immense. I lose weight. Dark circles bloom under my eyes. He notices, of course. He frames it as concern. "You seem so tired lately, babe. Are you okay? You should take some time off." "I'm fine," I say, forcing a smile. "Just busy." He doesn't know that my busyness is the careful, methodical work of dismantling his entire world. The deeper I dig, the worse it gets. It wasn't just the insurance. He'd been using the company credit card for everything. Jewelry, weekend getaways,
Gifts.
Thousands upon thousands of dollars bled from the business we built together, all to fund his affair with Jane Doe. I finally have a face to go with the name. A friend of a friend had seen him at a restaurant downtown, cozy in a booth with a striking blonde. A quick, soul-crushing search on social media confirmed it. Her name is Jessica, and her profile is filled with pictures of her wearing a necklace I recognize from a credit card statement on a trip to a boutique hotel he'd claimed was a solo business conference. Seeing her face, smiling, happy, wearing the spoils of my hard work, solidifies my resolve into something unbreakable. The sadness is still there, a deep, aching wound, but it's now surrounded by a wall of cold, hard fury. This was not a mistake. This was a long-term, calculated campaign of deceit and theft. He didn't just break my heart. He stole from me. He stole from our future. And he was going to pay for it. Not with money, but with everything. The midpoint of any crisis is often not a loud explosion but a quiet, internal shift. For me, it comes on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I'm in my lawyer's office, a sleek, impersonal space that smells of leather and ambition. We're going over the mountain of evidence I've compiled. The bank statements, the text messages, the social media profiles. It's a sordid, heartbreaking diorama of my husband's secret life. My lawyer, a woman named Eleanor who has the calm, predatory stillness of a panther, points to a specific document. It's the official form Mark submitted to our insurance company to add Jane Doe, to our plan. He'd checked the box for domestic partner and signed it. He'd forged a document, a legal attestation, lying to a major corporation. This is it, Eleanor says, her voice devoid of emotion. This is the kill shot. The affair is a personal matter. The courts see it every day. The misuse of company funds is serious. But this is fraud. It's a crime. It moves this out of the realm of a messy divorce and into something much cleaner, much more brutal. I stare at his signature on the bottom of the form. It's so familiar. The confident looping M, the sharp slash of the K, it's the same signature on our marriage license. The same signature on the deed to our house. The same signature on the founding documents of our company. A signature that once meant partnership, trust, and a shared future. Now it's just evidence of a crime. And that's when the shift happens. I came into this seeking justice for a broken heart. I wanted to expose his lies, to make him face the consequences of his infidelity. But sitting there, looking at that fraudulent document, I realize my goal has changed.
This is no longer about my pain.
It's about his crime. My heartbreak is a wound that might someday heal. But his actions have consequences that go far beyond me. He put our entire company at risk. If the insurance company had discovered this on their own, they could have dropped our policy, fined us, even pursued legal action against Apex Innovations itself. He risked the livelihoods of our employees, the stability of the business we built, all for her. My sadness, which had been a constant, heavy companion, recedes. It's still there, a shadow in the background, but it's no longer the driving force. In its place is a cold, clear sense of purpose. I am no longer the victim in this story. I am the arbiter of his consequences. What do we do with it? I ask Eleanor, my voice steady. We have options, she says, leaning back in her chair. We can use it as leverage in the divorce settlement. A trump card to get you everything you want, the business, the house, a favorable alimony agreement. He signs on the dotted line, and this document disappears. She pauses, her eyes searching mine. Or, we can report it. Report it to who? The insurance company. The state insurance board. Possibly law enforcement. It would trigger an investigation. It could lead to fines, penalties, even criminal charges. It would destroy his professional reputation. He would likely be uninsurable for future business ventures. It's the nuclear option. I think about Mark. The man I loved, the partner I built a life with. I think about the good times, the laughter, the shared dreams. And then I think about him lying to my face, day after day. I think about him making me believe I was crazy. I think about him stealing from our shared future to give to someone else. I think about the sheer, arrogant audacity of it all. He believed he was smarter than me. He believed he would never get caught. Leverage implies a negotiation. A deal. It implies that there is still something to be salvaged, some arrangement to be made. But there isn't. He already burned the whole thing to the ground. All I'm doing now is sifting through the ashes. We don't use it as leverage, I say, the words feeling heavy and final in the quiet room. We use it as a weapon. Eleanor allows herself a small, thin smile. Good. Leverage is for people who want to bargain. You're past that. You want to win. I nod. I want to win. Leaving her office, the rain has stopped. The city air is clean and sharp. For the first time, I feel a sense of my own power. He underestimated me. He saw me as the quiet, supportive wife, the behind-the-scenes partner. He never saw the steel I had to have to build our company alongside him. He never saw the woman who could stare down bankers and navigate complex contracts.
He saw a wife.
He should have seen a co-founder, an equal, an adversary. That evening, I'm online, scrolling through Jessica's public social media. It's a masochistic ritual I've developed, a way of reminding myself why I'm doing this. It's a curated feed of brunches, beach trips, and smiling selfies. And then I see it. A post from that afternoon. It's a picture of her feet in fluffy socks, propped up with a caption, "Finally taking care of my stupid knee. Minor surgery next week to fix this torn meniscus. Send good vibes." So grateful for amazing insurance that makes it possible. My blood turns to ice.
Surgery.
Not just a checkup. A costly, pre-authorized surgical procedure. Paid for by my company. By me. I look at the date of her post. Surgery next week. And I know, with chilling certainty, exactly what I am going to do. The plan forms in my mind, not born of rage, but of a cold, calculating logic. He used a system, the insurance system, to betray me. I will use that same system to deliver his consequence. It's clean. It's impersonal. It's devastating. And it's a language he will understand perfectly. The language of money and ruin. My turning point is no longer just a decision. It's a date on a calendar. And the clock is now ticking. The week leading up to Jessica's surgery is the longest week of my life. I am living on a razor's edge, balancing the mundane reality of my daily life with the seismic event I am about to trigger. I go to work. I answer emails. I sit in meetings with Mark, discussing quarterly goals and client retention, the conversation a meaningless buzz in my ears. He is animated, confident, completely oblivious. He talks about the future of Apex, our future, as if it's a solid, tangible thing. I just nod and smile, the duplicity a bitter taste in my mouth. Every interaction is a test of my resolve. One night, he comes home with takeout from my favorite Thai restaurant. He's in a good mood, talkative and charming. He tells me he appreciates how hard I've been working, that he knows he's been distant, and that he wants to make it up to me. He suggests we finally book that trip to Italy. Just for a week, he says, his eyes hopeful. We could go in the spring. Just the two of us. A reset. A year ago, those words would have been everything I wanted to hear. Now, they are just another manipulation, another lie designed to keep me in the dark. He's not trying to fix our marriage. He's just trying to manage his assets. And I am one of them. Maybe, I say, my voice a carefully constructed neutral tone. Let's get through this quarter first. He accepts the answer, seemingly satisfied. He has no idea that by spring, his world will be unrecognizable. The night before her scheduled surgery, I can't sleep. I lie in bed, the space between Mark and me feeling like a canyon. His steady breathing is a rhythm of betrayal that I can no longer stand. I slip out of the room and go downstairs, sitting in the dark living room, the one we painted together, the one where we hosted Christmases and birthday parties. The ghosts of our life are everywhere. I think about the woman I was. The woman who believed in love, in partnership, in the promises we made. I grieve for her. She is a casualty in this war, a person I will never be again. In her place is someone colder, harder, a stranger to myself. I wonder if I will ever find my way back from this place of anger and vengeance. I wonder if, after the dust settles, there will be anything left of me to salvage. But then I think of the alternative. To walk away quietly. To let him get away with it. To let him and Jessica build a life on the foundation of his lies and my money. And the cold resolve returns. This isn't just about revenge. It's about justice. It's about taking back my life, my company, and my self-respect. He wrote the first chapter of this story with his betrayal. But I will write the last. The morning of the surgery arrives. It's a bright, sunny day, the kind of day that feels mocking in its cheerfulness. I watch Mark get ready for work. He's humming to himself, picking out a tie. He seems relaxed, happy. He probably thinks his girlfriend is about to get her knee fixed free of charge, another problem solved by his cleverness. Big day today, he says, catching my eye in the mirror. Closing the Henderson deal. Good luck, I say. My voice is a little too tight, but he doesn't notice. He kisses my cheek on his way out the door. It's a perfunctory, absent-minded gesture. The touch of his lips on my skin feels like a brand. As soon as the door closes behind him, I go to the phone. My heart is a frantic drum against my ribs. My hands are cold and clammy. This is the point of no return. I have the number for the insurance company's fraud department memorized. I've rehearsed the conversation in my head 100 times. I know her full name now, Jessica Peterson. I know her date of birth, gleaned from her public social media profile. I have the policy number. I have everything I need. I wait. I watch the clock. I have to time it perfectly. I need her to be there. I need her to be checked in. I need her to be in the system, moments away from being wheeled into an operating room, basking in the security of the insurance he provided. At 10:15 a.m., 15 minutes after her scheduled check-in time, I pick up the phone. I take a deep, steadying breath, and I dial. The call, the one I described at the beginning, unfolds exactly as I had planned. The conversation with Susan from Member Services is surreal in its civility. I am calm. I am polite. I am methodical as I lay out the facts of the fraud. And when she puts me on hold, and I hear the faint, tinny sounds of chaos erupting in that clinic waiting room, a profound sense of calm settles over me. The frantic drumming in my chest ceases. The shaking in my hand stops. It is the cold, quiet calm at the eye of a hurricane I have created. I hear Jessica's voice, shrill with panic and humiliation. What do you mean it's canceled? It was approved. I have the paperwork. I hear the low, firm voice of an administrator. Ma'am, the policyholder has removed you from the plan. We've been notified of suspected fraudulent activity. We cannot proceed with the surgery. And I'm afraid we'll need to discuss payment for today's pre-operative services. Her gasp is a thing of beauty. It's the sound of a freeloader being handed the bill. It's the sound of consequence, delivered with brutal, bureaucratic efficiency. After I hang up with Susan, the silence in my house is absolute. It lasts for exactly 27 minutes. Then my phone rings. It's Mark. I look at his name on the screen, and for the first time, I feel no fear.
No anxiety.
Just a weary readiness. I let it ring twice more, then I answer, my voice perfectly level. Hello. Chloe. What the hell did you do?
He's not yelling, not yet.
But his voice is tight with a barely controlled fury. He's clearly not in a place where he can scream. He's probably in his office or in his car. I have no idea what you're talking about, Mark. I say, the lie slipping out easily. I've learned from the best, after all. Don't play dumb with me, he hisses. Jessica just called me.
Crying.
Hysterical. They kicked her out of the surgical center. They told her her insurance was canceled. They told her she was being investigated for fraud. This has your fingerprints all over it, Jessica. I say, feigning confusion. Who's Jessica? Is she a new client? And why would she be on our company insurance? There's a beat of stunned silence on his end. He doesn't know that I know. He thinks this is about the clerical error, that I've somehow stumbled into this and messed things up accidentally. This isn't a game, Chloe, he snarls. You need to call them back right now and fix this. Tell them it was a mistake. A mistake, I say, and now I let the ice seep into my voice. You mean like the mistake of adding a dependent named Jane Doe to our policy? The one you said you'd handle months ago? Or the mistake of the hotel bills? The jewelry? The dinners for two? Tell me, Mark, which mistake are we talking about? Because I seem to have a whole file full of them. The silence on the other end of the line is deafening. I can practically hear the gears in his head grinding to a halt as the full, horrifying scope of his situation dawns on him. He knows.
He knows that I know everything.
The game is over. You went through my things, he stammers, his anger replaced by a desperate, sputtering disbelief. I did, I say, my voice flat and cold. I went through everything. I have the receipts. I have the text messages. And Mark, I have a copy of the fraudulent insurance application you signed. The one where you committed a felony by listing your mistress as a domestic partner on a policy that I pay for. I let that hang in the air. I can hear his breathing, ragged and panicked. He's cornered. The charming, confident man is gone, replaced by a desperate animal in a trap. Chloe, baby, listen to me. He starts, his voice shifting, trying to find that old, familiar tone of placating charm. We can talk about this. There's been a misunderstanding. I can explain. No, I say, cutting him off. There's nothing to explain. There's only what comes next. I'll be staying with my sister for a while. My lawyer will be in touch with yours. Don't come home. Chloe, wait, he pleads. Don't do this. Think about the company. Think about everything we've built. A laugh escapes my lips, a short, bitter, humorless sound. You should have thought of that before you decided to use our company as your personal piggy bank to fund your affair. You didn't just betray me, Mark. You betrayed our business. You put everything at risk. And now, the bill is due. I hang up the phone before he can say another word. I block his number. Then, I sit down at my computer and send a single, pre-written email to our company's board of advisors and our 2 key senior employees. The email is concise. It explains that due to irreconcilable differences and evidence of gross financial misconduct and fraud on the part of Mark, I am filing for divorce and will be taking legal steps to remove him from the company, effective immediately. Attached is a password-protected file. The password is consequences. Inside is a curated selection of the evidence, the fraudulent insurance form, the credit card statements highlighting his personal expenditures, a transcript of the most damning text messages. The detonation is complete. The fallout will be messy, but I have seized control of the narrative. He can no longer lie or charm his way out of this. The proof is undeniable. I stand up from my desk, walk to the front door, and step out into the bright, unforgiving sunlight. I don't look back. The aftermath is a storm of legal paperwork, angry voicemails from his family, and a quiet, sad packing of boxes. The house we shared feels cavernous and cold, haunted by the ghost of a future that will never be. Mark, predictably, does not go quietly. His first move is to hire a bulldog of a lawyer who sends threatening letters, accusing me of corporate espionage and emotional distress. It's a desperate, transparent attempt to intimidate me. But I have Eleanor, and I have the truth. We meet his lawyer in a sterile conference room. Mark is there, looking haggard and thin. The easy confidence is gone, replaced by a bitter, resentful glare.
He refuses to look at me.
His lawyer, a man with a booming voice and an expensive suit, starts by blustering about my illegal seizure of company funds and my slanderous accusations. Eleanor lets him talk. She listens patiently, her hands folded calmly on the polished table. When he's finally wound down, she slides a single piece of paper across the table. It's a copy of the fraudulent insurance application. My client has 2 options for you, Mark, she says, her voice soft but carrying the weight of iron. Option A is the divorce settlement in front of you. My client gets the house and 75% of the company. You get a severance package and you walk away, signing a non-disclosure and a non-compete agreement. You will have no future claim to Apex Innovations or its assets. Mark's lawyer scoffs. That's an insulting offer. We will see you in court. I haven't gotten to option B, Eleanor says, her eyes fixed on Mark. Option B is we decline your counteroffer. And this document, she taps the paper, along with a wealth of supporting evidence, gets forwarded to the State Insurance Commissioner's office and the district attorney. We will be pursuing a criminal investigation for felony fraud. Your assets will be frozen pending the investigation. You will likely face fines in the tens of thousands of dollars and possibly jail time. Your professional career will be over. So, you can be a disgraced ex-husband with a modest severance, or you can be a convicted felon with nothing. The choice is yours. You have 10 minutes. The silence in the room is thick enough to choke on. Mark's face has gone pale. He finally looks at me, his eyes pleading. He sees no mercy in mine. He sees no lingering affection. He just sees the stranger I have become, the woman he created with his own lies. He slumps in his chair, defeated. He knows he has no move left to make. I have checkmated him. He takes the deal. Rebuilding is a slow, painful process. I dissolve Apex Innovations as it was and restructure it under a new name, with me as the sole owner. I have to let a few people go, a painful necessity to stabilize the finances after the damage Mark did. But the core team, the ones who knew what was really going on, they stay. They rally around me. They work harder than ever. They believe in me. There are days when the grief ambushes me. I'll hear a song on the radio that was our song. I'll drive past the restaurant where he proposed. And the loss feels as fresh and raw as it did on day one. I miss the man I thought he was, the partner I loved. That man is dead, and I have to mourn him. But there are also moments of pure, unadulterated peace. I stand in the office of my company, looking out at the city skyline, and I feel a sense of ownership and pride I never felt when he was my partner. I did this. I survived this. I built this. Jessica, I hear through the grapevine, was stuck with a medical bill close to 5 figures for the pre-op services. Her relationship with Mark imploded in the aftermath of the public humiliation and the sudden cutoff of his financial support. They were a couple built on the shaky foundation of his lies and my money. When both were exposed, there was nothing left to hold them together. I don't feel joy at her misfortune. I just feel a quiet, grim sense of cosmic balance. I'm learning to live in the silence of my house again. It's no longer heavy or suffocating. It's my own. It's filled with my music, my books, my peace. I'm starting to remember who I was before I was Mark and Chloe. I'm rediscovering the woman who is strong enough to build a business from scratch, the woman who is smart enough to see through a web of lies, and the woman who is brave enough to burn it all down to save herself. The water stain on the ceiling is still there. I've thought about having it painted over, erasing the last physical reminder of that dark time. But I've decided to leave it. It's a map, not of a storm that broke me, but of a storm I survived. It's a reminder that even when it feels like the roof is caving in, you can find the strength to rebuild, stronger and more resilient than before. You just have to be willing to weather the rain. Thanks for being here, for listening to my story. Subscribing to the channel helps bring more of these to life, and honestly, it makes the quiet moments a little less lonely. If this story meant something to you, I'd love to know.